What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is Eric, and we're going to relaunch the Blu-ray haul videos for 2023. It's January, and we're not messing around. This is due to a request, and I didn't realize anybody really enjoyed these videos, so we're going to bring them back and see how they do this year. So we have a stack today of about 7 Blu-rays and actually 7 DVDs as well. That I picked up at various places. I don't usually get new releases, so don't expect a bunch of new stuff here. I typically get these garage sales, Goodwills, things like that. Like, I don't like to spend $20 on a Blu-ray. Very, very rare, unless it's just a movie I have to have immediately as soon as it's available, which is pretty rare. So most of these are older movies, but I'm going to go through them anyway. And we're starting with one called Trauma Center. What the heck is this? This is a Bruce Willis movie, and I just grabbed this one super cheap to check it out. Give Bruce Willis, just try out one of his, newer movies before he had to retire due to aphasia. Really sad story with Bruce Willis, but Bruce Willis, of course, is awesome. Unfortunately, most of his movies during the last few years of his career weren't that great. Just to be honest, not to be mean, just to be honest, this one sounded interesting. Decided to give it a try, and it was okay. It wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. Forgettable, but it wasn't a completely insulting movie. And then we have one that I really like here. This one's called Shot Caller. If you haven't seen Shot Caller, you might want to check this one out. I rented this one way back in the day, and I loved it, and I just was waiting to find it for a decent price on Blu-ray, and I picked this one up. And this is about a guy, just a normal dude, working a normal job with a wife. They were hanging out with a couple of friends, and he had a little too much to drink. Wasn't like completely drunk, but was a little bit over the limit, and he got into a car accident, and it killed one of his friends. And he got sent to prison, a little prison term. And from there, things went wild in prison. He ended up being a lifelong prisoner, and became the shot caller, became the freaking man in prison, okay? Had to deal with a lot of stuff, okay? Trying to protect his family on the outside, and he just became just a straight-up badass career prisoner. Not even a career criminal, a career prisoner. This dude learned the system, and it wasn't, all his own fault. Obviously, he didn't make all the best decisions. It could be arguable, but he just got in a tough situation and became the freaking shot caller. You might want to check that one out. Pretty crazy stuff right there. And here we have Jobs. Okay, this one is starring Ashton Kutcher, and it's about Steve Jobs, obviously. Now, I know there's another movie I still need to check out called Steve Jobs. I haven't watched that one yet. I want to check that one out too. This is one I came upon. I rather enjoyed it. I rather enjoyed this movie. I think that the other Steve Jobs movie called Steve Jobs is actually better reviewed, gets better, was better received. But I liked this movie a lot. I thought Ashton Kutcher did a great job. And my favorite scene, I'm just going to go ahead and tell you right now, my favorite scene is a moment where Steve Jobs fires a guy working under him, like a programmer, and they're working on like a Microsoft Word type program called Lisa Wright for their new computer, the Lisa computer, whatever. But anyway, they're working on Lisa Wright, and the guy is like under him. He didn't make the fonts. Steve Jobs was like, "Where's the fonts? Why can't I change the fonts? We need to have different fonts in here." He's like, "You know what? It's not something we need to worry about. We're not going to do that right now. And nobody cares about fonts, right?" He said, "Nobody cares about it because they don't know that they care about it until they get that option." And they're arguing a little bit. He's like, "Look, fonts are just not practical right now." And finally, Steve Jobs gets pissed off. This is my favorite part. He just stares at him. "If you don't share the enthusiasm and the vision of this company," it was intimidating. Everyone in the room was like, "Oh shit!" And he ends up firing the dude. And I loved it because now I use that in my own life. It's just kind of for jokes, but if I need to make a video, someone's like, "Hey, bro, you want to hang out today, man?" I was like, "No, man, I got to make a video." You got to make a video every day, bro. If you don't share the enthusiasm and the vision. Next up, we have Everest. 2015 movie. Now, I read the book, and I started reading a whole bunch of books from climbers who climbed Mount Everest, especially those who climbed it in 1996 during this horrible disaster that occurred. The book is called Into Thin Air. It's the first one I read by John Krakauer. Then I read another one called The Climb. Then I read another one called Left for Dead. And then I read another book on Everest. And I got just completely fascinated. Now, didn't make me want to climb the mother effer. If anything, it made me want to stay the hell away from that mountain at all costs. But I was just fascinated by the stories. And eventually I got this movie. And the movie is pretty damn good. Pretty damn good. Not totally accurate. There's a few inaccuracies, of course, and that's the thing that kind of holds it back, like unnecessary inaccuracies. But other than that, by and large, it's pretty accurate, the overall story, and it's very well done. There's also a 1997 or so made-for-TV movie that's on YouTube. That one's pretty good too, and you can watch that one for free because it's on YouTube. Just look up that one called Into Thin Air. But this one is the more modern, little more bigger budget, bigger actors. You have Jason Clarke in here, and so Everest. It's a fascinating story. You go down this rabbit hole and you won't be getting out for a while. You start reading these books. You might be able to watch this movie and be done with it, but you might start going down a rabbit hole reading if you start reading these books about the Mount Everest disaster in '96. And there's other books too about other expeditions. It's just crazy. You know, I used to think it was just a very obviously a difficult climb because the mountain is so high. Oh, there's way more to it than that. There's way more to it than that. You can die about 100 different ways trying to climb that mountain, and you probably will. Next up, we have a movie starring Sean Penn called Milk. I haven't checked it out yet. This is obviously about Harvey Milk, I believe, and it says, based on the inspiring true story of the first openly gay man elected to major public office, this compelling film follows Milk's powerful journey to inspire hope for equal rights during one of the least tolerant times in our nation's history. Obviously, you know, San Francisco based film, I assume. So I haven't checked it out yet. I don't know a whole lot about Harvey Milk. I need to know more and haven't read much. But I'm going to watch this. Hopefully it's good. Next, we have Jaws 2. I picked this up simply because I have Jaws. Obviously, I've watched Jaws a million times, and I thought I might do a review series on the channel. Thought it might be kind of fun because I hear that Jaws 3 and 4 are garbage. I think I saw Jaws 2 as a kid. Maybe I saw Jaws 3 and 4 at one point when I was a kid. They weren't memorable. I don't remember them. So I picked up Jaws 2 just so I can watch and review. I got to still review, of course, Jaws, the original. This one we have Barbershop The Next Cut. Barbershop The Next Cut. This movie I haven't seen yet either, but I love the first Barbershop, and Barbershop 2 I think is pretty good too. And for whatever reason, this one fell through the cracks for me. This is brand new, sealed. I don't know why I haven't even opened it. I just haven't found the time to check it out yet. I don't think I've seen this one. This one went to theaters and went to release, and I just kind of flew under my radar. Now we have some DVDs, but you know what? These are ones that I've picked up at garage sales and things like that. 25 cents right here. 25 cents. There Will Be Blood. This is one I hadn't checked out. I've watched it now. Daniel Day-Lewis. Loved it. Absolutely loved this movie. Hardcore film. But this is an oil man who struck oil, and he's working with his son. It's kind of cool because his son is a little kid, but he treats him like a professional. Like he's his partner. It's pretty cool at the beginning, but then stuff goes down. Something terrible happens to the son, and he can't really work with him like that. He finds his brother, and his long-lost brother starts working with him. There's some jealousy. Crazy stuff goes down, and then we kind of advance in time later as the kid is older now. So that's all I'll say. It's a really good. I mean, Daniel Day-Lewis is all you need to know. Daniel freaking Day-Lewis is all you need to know. Legitimately. I mean, the guy is an incredible actor. There's one called Exodus, Gods and Kings. I think I got this at a garage sale. I'm not really sure. I don't remember, or a thrift store. But Exodus, Gods and Kings I got because it's one of the few movies with Christian Bale I hadn't checked out. Just wasn't interested in it, I guess, when it was out in theaters. But I said, you know what, let me give it a chance. It has Christian Bale in it. It's obviously a biblical story, and he plays Moses. It's actually not that bad. I thought it was pretty good. If you're like a Christian and you read the Bible, you may find some inaccuracies. I don't think it follows exact or anything. It kind of has its own spin on things, tries to make it a little more, I don't know what word to use. I don't want to say more realistic, but that's kind of the approach that Ridley Scott takes as far as like splitting the Red Sea or something. He doesn't just go, oh, and the Red Sea splits. He tries to find natural events that cause these things to happen to make them more plausible, I guess, if you will. So some people might take offense to that. I personally enjoyed this one quite a bit. I thought it was pretty good. Now, Locke, Tom Hardy. Please check this movie out. Now, this movie, I'm going to have to tell you, if you don't know about Locke, I didn't know until I watched it. I picked it up because I saw it said Tom Hardy. I saw a couple of cool things. I think I looked it up on Rotten Tomatoes on my phone, 50 cents or something. I'm going to grab it. Watch this movie without realizing all this movie is Tom Hardy driving a car by himself. No one else is in the movie. He never leaves the car. I hope that arouses your curiosity in how the hell this could be a good movie. But this movie is bomb. I loved this movie, and Tom Hardy's acting is all it took. He does conversate with different people on the phone while he's driving, which is pretty much what drives the plot. But no one else appears. It's incredible. It's a one-man show right there, and he pulled it off. Here's one called Into the Wild. Now, I read this book by John Krakauer after I read Into Thin Air, and I was just looking forward to reading this book about this young man who decides he just wants to live by the land. He wants to go out and live off the land. He doesn't want to have a normal life, like a job and a car and money. No, he burns all his money, donates thousands or tens of thousands of dollars to charity, and he just walks into the wild, into Alaska, to survive. It's a pretty famous story. I hadn't really heard of it till I read this book, which was a few months ago, and I finished the book. I loved the book, so I found out there was a movie made about it. I was like, what? A movie about this too? Well, I got to check it out. Sean Penn, screenplay and directed by Sean Penn. I thought the movie wasn't as good as the book. Just going to be straight up, but it's still fine. It's still enjoyable. But I would recommend the book before the movie. But if you don't have time to read a book, Into the Wild, it's a pretty interesting story. It's a pretty damn interesting story about this guy. So who goes into the wild, into the Alaska to live off the land. And, I don't want to spoil it, but it's really interesting. Here we have one. Picked this one up at a garage sale for, I think I picked up a stack at the next three or four. I picked up a stack for and I gave him like a dime. I mean, it was pennies. So I was like, why not? The People versus Larry Flynt. The People versus Larry Flynt. I had no idea what this was about. So imagine my shock when I put this in the DVD player and started watching it, because I didn't know what this was about. I'm not knowledgeable on Larry Flynt. I just knew it had Woody Harrelson, Courtney Love, Edward Norton. There's a cast, and it looked like a court kind of movie. And I love court films. I love court. I thought about being a lawyer when I was younger. It's just fascinating. I decided not to, because I know that if you're actually a lawyer, probably it's just not cool like in the movies. I think I would hate the job. I would just want to be doing the trial thing, but how often does that come up? Most of the time you're doing plea bargains and doing paperwork. So anyway, I checked out this movie, and it turns out that Larry Flynt is the guy who ran, some of you may already know, I did not know this, he ran Penthouse magazine. So a lot of porn stuff in this movie. I mean, it doesn't show you a whole bunch, but you see a little more than I was ready for when I threw this. I thought I was getting a court movie, so it kind of threw me aback. But I stuck with it. And Larry Flynt's this is based on a true story. This was a real guy, and he was wild. This dude was wild and has a wild tale. I could see, and Woody Harrelson did a great job of portraying Larry Flynt from his days where he was just pretty much a normal guy. A really nice guy, a really likable guy, and he just kind of went off the deep end here by the end of his life. But not completely. He had problems. He was shot. I mean, he had issues. His voice got messed up, and he started slurring his words a little bit. His pronunciation was messed up, but he also acted like a lunatic in the courtroom, and he was just crazy. Whether he was really crazy or just acting crazy, I think he was just acting crazy. But nevertheless, He appeared to go off the deep end, and it's a wild ride, trying to protect. Basically, what it's all about is trying to protect free speech and the freedom to publicize these magazines without, being harassed, without being canceled. That term didn't exist back then, but that's basically what it was. So, movie was pretty good. Once I kind of got over the fact that this is not going to be a normal courtroom movie, this is actually basically a movie about the porn industry in a way. But hey, here we have A Bronx Tale. I just ran across a YouTube clip, a short that had a scene from this movie, and it had Robert De Niro. It looked like a gangster movie, and I'm like, how have I not seen that? How the hell have I not seen a gangster movie with a Robert De Niro? How is that possible? I guess it's because he directed it himself, and this was a screenplay that was based on a play that this guy, Chaz, I forget his name off the top of my head, Chaz Paul Palminteri. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize. I'm not. I know who he is. I know his face, but I haven't said his name very many times. So anyway, this was a play that he wrote, and they made it into a movie. It's called The Bronx Tale. I don't know how I didn't see it. I think because it wasn't a Scorsese. It just never, it wasn't Casino, Goodfellas, Godfather. It was just kind of down, went under my radar. And so I bought it and I watched it, and it's really freaking good. Really good. It's kind of different because Robert De Niro's not a gangster in this one. He's the father trying to protect his kid who's getting into the gangster lifestyle with Chaz, or in this case, his name is Sonny. So interesting movie and pretty damn good and really good screenplay. Chaz actually does this play by himself. It's a one-man show, and he just plays all the characters. Pretty damn impressive. The last one I picked up here is part of that stack. You can see they have little prices, but he gave me like a big old stack for a deal, so I didn't pay 75 cents. I paid like a nickel. The Pursuit of Happiness. The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith. I have obviously seen it. I saw it in theaters. Rented it, I think, when it came out. For whatever reason, I just had never owned it. And I decided, I threw it. It was in the stack, so obviously I picked this one up as well, and I rewatched it. Really good movie. Really, really good. Love Pursuit of Happiness. Great film right here. Definitely one of their best. So that's the stack for today. Hope y'all enjoyed that one. Fantastic films. Pretty good damn stack right there. That's what I picked up during the month of December. Look forward to next month. I'll have all my movies I picked up in January. I pick up a lot of them. Most of them, like I said, not big budget, or some of them are big budget, but not recent new releases, because I'm just not going to go spend $28, $25, $20 for a freaking Blu-ray. It ain't going to happen. I don't have that kind of cash. I'm not rolling like that. I only wish I could afford. And I see other YouTubers who do that every month. They're like, I got this one, the new Blu-ray, or excuse me, the new 4K, the freaking Steelbook, blah, blah, blah. How the fuck, what the fuck kind of cash you rolling in, bro? Damn. We're talking thousands of dollars a month in physical media. It's shit. I wish I could. You guys have a great day. Hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you next time.